Former head of communications in the Department of Health, Popo Maja, has become the latest official to be charged with corruption in the digital vibes saga. Maja, who was placed on suspension last year over his alleged role in the digital vibes contract, appeared before the Specialized Commercial Crimes Court yesterday. He is alleged to have received bribes amounting to 15,000 rand. Meanwhile, the Health Department says it will let the law take its course on the matter. All right, let's get some reaction now, and we'll speak to the Chief Executive Officer at the organization Undoing Tax Abuse. Wayne Duvenage is the leader of that organization. Thank you very much for your time, Wayne. Let me get your initial thoughts on this appearance of the former head of communications in the Health Department. Your thoughts when you hear that he's alleged to have received bribes amounting to 15,000 rand.
Yeah, look, first of all, this has been going on for some time. It would appear that he's a small fish in the big scheme of this scam, this digital vibe scam, where the organization managed to siphon about 140 million rand out of the Department of Health. But he was the spokesperson. At the time, he was also on the adjudication committee that fraudulently awarded this tender to Digital Vibes, and it appears that he got some money for that, 15,000 rand. So I think we've got to celebrate the fact that all people involved and found wanting need to be rounded up, and I think this is one of the individuals in the process. The big concern is where are the charges and how far are those against the masterminds of the scheme. That's Tahira Mata and her niece Nadira Amita, I think. They controlled Digital Vibes, and this was allowed to happen under the minister's watch. As we know, the minister lost his job, but there are many people implicated in his family, many companies. A lot of money has been moved around, and what we need to see are the charges and the court challenges now against those individuals. We want to see them being held accountable.
Yep, and that's exactly my thoughts about what you were possibly going to say here, Wayne, and that is that he is a small fish in a bigger scheme of things. The masterminds is who we are looking for. And Wayne, I don't know why I'm suddenly reminded of Babita Deokaran, because at some point in that case as well, we were told that there is a mastermind. These were simply the trigger people, the people that are before court now. But where are the masterminds? And that's the question that we should be banging on about, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, millions of rands, were siphoned off to various companies where the Mkhize family are the directors and the owners of these companies. Dr. May Mkhize, who's William Mkhize's wife, was listed as a sole director of Cedar Falls Properties, and another farming company to their son, Didani. And these organizations scored millions from this deal. So they need to be held accountable, as well as Dr. William Mkhize himself. Why just now Popo Maja? But of course, I think part of the strategy is when you start rounding up others, even though they are the small fish in the scheme, they might start to their cases might start to implicate others as they are ventilated in courts in the affidavits that have to be drafted, and that starts to strengthen or become greater verification to the others implicated. So there might be a strategy. I don't know, but yeah, we want to see the big fish held accountable.
Interestingly, you mentioned Dr. Zweli Mkhize and the family members. What I remember distinctly, and I think this was his response either in a press conference or he was in Parliament, and he was very clear. At the time, he was still the Minister of Health, and he said that surely Dedanim Kize, who is his son, is an adult who is able to make his own decisions. Why, therefore, should he be held accountable for his son, who clearly was involved in an indirect way in doing business with a department that was run by his father? As far as Dr. May Mkhize, the wife, I don't remember, Wayne, an instance where a statement was issued where there was a denial of her receiving funds towards her entity. Do you remember any sort of thing like that?
No, can't recall any denial to that fact, but the Special Investigations Unit has uncovered. In fact, they're going after and seeking to recover funds from those businesses, as well as the Dani's wife, his son's wife, was also benefiting in one of the companies, so in the farming venture. You see, Dr. Mkhize himself, the minister at the time, made it very clear that neither he nor his family did benefit from this deal, and that was refuted and came out very clearly in the SIU investigations that was not the case. So whether he wants to say that, well, you know, what's his son's business dealings got to do with him? Everything points back to the fact that he had to and should have known about this, that his own wife was starting to benefit from it, and to say that his family didn't benefit and then to find out otherwise, this is very, very clear case of corruption as far as we're concerned, and meddling in the affairs of the administration of the department, which he shouldn't have been doing anyway as a minister.
Yeah. And here is where I want to end the conversation, Wayne. So Mr. Maja is charged here with a crime that he committed during his time as head of communications in the health department. Over time, what we have seen is that government officials accused of wrongdoing, we taxpayers are the ones who end up having to foot the legal bill, as if we are the ones who sent them to allegedly go and commit the crimes that they are accused of having committed. Is that something that organizations like yours are going to stand up and fight for, to say, but that's an abuse of taxpayers' money? We did not send Popo Maja to go and do what he is alleged to have done.
Yeah, look, I mean, our work is really is focused on this gross maladministration and corrupt use of taxpayers' money. And wherever the court process goes to uncover and take and hold accountable all elements within that scheme, of course, sadly, so often we see the political pawns or the administrative pawns that are the likes of Popo Maja and others, who fall into the trap of being the frontmen, of being the people to sign the documents. They sadly bear the brunt of this. We've seen it in the waterkloof landings. We've seen it in many, many cases. And they're the cannon fodder, so to speak. What we need to do is to get to the top, to get to the individuals who are the masterminds, who are pretending to look away. And by the way, they cover themselves very well so that it's very difficult to see the direct links. But the implications are there, and the evidence starts to spell out if you go through the detail the way the SIU is doing it on this case. And it takes too long. We get frustrated with the time it's taking. But you're quite right. It's unfortunate. These people, the individuals who are the cannon fodder here, are the individuals that should have walked away and said no. And that's the type of stuff that we've seen, the likes of Cynthia Stimple and others who did not want to participate and play the games of the senior people who are trying to use them to direct funds out of the organization. So, Mr. Maja should have stood up, walked away, said, I'm not going to adjudicate, I'm not going to grant this. But he didn't. And I guess this is what corruption does. It's a lot of money that it tends to bend people's minds into accepting that they might be protected and get away with it. And unfortunately, he hasn't. And he's going to have to pay for the consequences and face the consequences of that.
Wayne Duvenage, let me thank you very much for your time, Chief Executive Officer at the organization Undoing Tax Abuse, or OUTA for short.